So in chapter 6, we're going to be given 3 additional constructions. All 3 of these constructions are nouns. We have the appositive, the objective complement, and the adverbial noun. And we've seen before in earlier parts of the book that nouns can have many jobs. We have the subject, like in Rex barks, direct object, I see Rex, predicate nominative, Rex is the dog, object of a preposition, I yelled at Rex, indirect object, and so on. Okay, all of these have examples of noun jobs. So the first noun that we're going to use is the appositive. And an appositive is, she defines it, an appositive is a noun and any modifiers that restates another noun and shares its construction. Now, this word appositive may confuse you. What does it mean? If you were to look into a dictionary, you would see that appositive means to bring in proximity to. So like this pen, I'm bringing my cell phone in apposition to it. They're close together, right? They're in proximity, or to juxtapose two things. That's apposition. So this is why we use this word for this noun. Well, let's look. We have in the sentence, my friend Ando has a car. My friend is our original noun, but then we bring something next to it in apposition, Ando. And what Ando does is it restates. It says in another way, my friend. So who's my friend? It's Ando. And we use this all the time in grammar. Or in speaking. Think if I said, the king, George, is at the palace. George there would be in a positive. Or if I said, the prophet, comma, Muhammad, comma, was the last messenger of God, right? Or if I said, the messenger of God, comma, Muhammad, comma, received revelation, that would be, Muhammad there would be the appositive. So Ando here in our example, my friend Ando restates the noun friend, right? My is modifying it. So an appositive is a noun, and any modifiers that restates another noun. So they restate it and shares its construction. So if we look how we diagram this, friend, right? There's the original noun and its modifier. But then we have Ando. And Ando, we're going to put in parentheses next to friend, because it's just restating it. So you see that it's in the same place in the sentence diagram as the original noun. It's like it's in the subject place, right? It shares the exact same grammatical construction. Here, my friend is the subject, so Ando, it's like it's the subject, right? You just put it next to it, okay? So wherever the noun is, you're going to, the original noun, that's where you're going to put the appositive. So the appositive goes in parentheses beside the word with which it is in apposition. Now let's look at another example. The wicked witch. That's our original noun. The one with the wart on her nose was defeated. So we have the original noun, which is modifiers, the wicked. And then we have a pronoun, the one. So this pronoun is the appositive. And then here are all the things modifying it or modifying something in it. The one with the wart on her nose. So let's say there are many wicked witches. We just want to specify it's the one with the wart on her nose. So one, because remember, pronouns take the place of nouns. So we can, it's not only the appositive is a noun, it can be a pronoun. And what are the things modifying it? The, with the wart, and then on her nose is modifying wart. So it's pretty simple, right? One there is in the parentheses. Everything modifying one just goes under it. You don't need to put another line, kind of to separate it. Like they're both the noun, the original noun, and the appositive are in the same place. Okay, that's what it means to share its construction. So it's pretty easy, I think. Now let's go on. So if we go to 6.1, diagram these sentences with a positive. appositives. So let's just quickly, where's the main noun? Where's the appositive? We have Nora, the girl with the big smile, was waving at Jim. So Nora is our subject. Another way of saying Nora, restating it, the girl with the big smile, right? So the appositive there is girl, everything else is modifying it. My sister, Nancy, gave a present. So my sister, Nancy. Now this we should pay attention to. My sister is the main noun, sister, right? Sister is a noun, it's not an adjective. Nancy is the appositive. But we don't take out the commas because Nancy is essential. So if you remember the difference between non-essential and essential that we covered a few chapters ago in adjective clauses, or restricted and non-restricted. So Nancy here is necessary in order to identify sister. Nora, the girl with the big smile isn't necessary to identify Nora. Nora is a name, right? In general, when we have a name, we're not going to put commas. Okay. Rex, the wonder dog, right? Oh, actually, let's go back to 2. It says, my sister Nancy gave a present. That's another noun, right? Present. What's another way of saying that noun? A big Barbie doll. So we have a second appositive. That's fine. Anywhere you have a noun, right, you can put in a positive. Now here, gave a present. So present is a direct object. That means a Barbie doll is going to go in the same place next to present in parentheses. To her friend. Friend is a noun. Sarah, another way of restating that noun. On her birthday. What's her birthday? That's a noun. July 20th, right? What's July 20th? It's in a positive. Okay. And so when we have dates, we put a comma there because they're non-essential. All right. So this sentence, number 2, has a 1, 2, 3, 4 appositives. Now you notice you use them all the time, right? And you can finish the rest, okay, on your own. Now you may have noticed that some appositives and positive phrases, the noun and the words that go with it, or the pronoun and the words that go with it, are set off by commas and some are not. Very closely associated appositives and those that are essential to the identification of the noun are not always set off by commas, right? They're essential. But if an appositive has a comma in front of it, it must have one after it, unless it is followed by another mark of punctuation. So for instance, my sister, Mabel, right? That's the appositive here, right? So you need commas. Now, it depends on, remember, if you remember the restrictive, non-restrictive, essential, and non-essential clauses, even these words here, which are appositives, they're essential or non-essential, restrictive or non-restrictive, depends on the context. Let's say this person only has one sister. My sister, Mabel. You would put commas, okay? Because this person only has one sister. But let's say the person has like 3 or 4 or 5 sisters. Then you don't need the commas because Mabel is necessary to distinguish which sister as opposed to the other 4, 3, or 2. Okay, so that's not too difficult. So make sure you diagram the rest. So in sentence 4, you found a colon preceding a list. Okay, let's mention this one. You, number 4, you, the voters of tomorrow, will have to solve these problems. Problems is a noun. And as a noun, it has the opposition for, has the opportunity for apposition. Now, what's another way of saying these problems? Overpopulation, pollution, and hunger. So these 3, overpopulation, pollution, and hunger, right? They're appositives for the 4 problems. It's like all 3 make up the appositives for problems. You couldn't say problems with an S and then put a colon and just put overpopulation because that's only one thing. It needs to be plural. Overpopulation, pollution, and hunger. So this is one of the uses for a colon, is to give a list of appositives for the noun that you're mentioning. Now notice it has and, that means you're going to do the rocket ship, right? When you diagram it, right? Try it out. But this is very important because a lot of people mistake the usages of the colon. And this should be kind of a rule of thumb now, if you think about it. If I have a noun, plural noun, or a noun that I want to describe more, give more information about it, I use appositives, right? What are these problems? Overpopulation, pollution, and hunger. You could do that, or you could change it into a clause, etc., etc. But this is a nice way of doing it. Okay. And so they'll go over population, pollution, and hunger as a rocket ship will go in the place where problems is in the sentence to solve these problems. Look at that. You got a infinitive. And problems is it's what? Think about it. So you found a colon with the preceding noun. Okay. There's the answer to the question I just asked. Appositives can be verbals and even occasionally noun clauses, right? Because they are nouns. What verbals are nouns, right? Gerunds, for instance, infinitives, right? And occasionally noun clauses. It makes perfect sense because these are all nouns. They act like nouns. And so they can be used as appositives because appositive, apposition, that's a noun job. Observe these examples. His dream to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel is unsound. So where is the noun and where is the appositive? Dream, right? That is our positive. And then we have a nice to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. So where's the noun in apposition, right? To go over. So you see you have to diagram it in this funky kind of way. Okay. And here's the original noun. But you see there's a parentheses, and then you got to do the special line, hangman, for the infinitive. What about the next one? His dream. So same in meaning. That he can go over Niagara Falls in a barrel is unsound. So that he can go over Niagara Falls in a barrel is going to be, right, one of those noun clauses that has the extra that. How do we know it's a noun clause? Because it's in a noun place. It's in a positive. So because it's in positive, right, it is a noun. Okay. So that's how you're going to do these. And that's it for appositives. They're very easy. You use them all the time. The next thing is similar to the retained object. It's called the objective complement. And it's specific for certain verbs like named or called. Okay, so these verbs are transitive active. They named, they called. Well, what did they name? Where's the direct object? They named the baby. They called the dog. Here's the other thing. What did they call them? Bill, Rex. And this is called the objective complement. It is kind of completing the meaning, and it's for these specific verbs. Okay, so let's go to her explanation and some more examples that she has. Okay, we thought that he was handsome. So what did we think? We thought that he was handsome. That he was handsome is the object, and we know it's a noun clause, right? Because it's an object. That he was handsome. What's another way of saying that? We thought him handsome. We thought him handsome. So handsome here is the object complement. We thought him handsome. The direct object is him, the pronoun. Okay. Now look at this next one. So these are all examples of objective complement. Look at the next one. We chose him to be president, right? To be president. Okay. So we chose him, right? Him is like the subject of the infinitive. And then we have to be, and then president. So we have President acting as a predicate noun. Well, there's another way of saying this. We chose him president. This is the objective complement. What did you choose him to be? Right? President. Okay. Study the diagrams above carefully. In every case, the main verb in the sentence is transitive active, requiring a direct object. In the sentences with OC, objective complement, the direct object is completed by either a noun or an adjective. So when we say we chose him to be, or sorry, we thought him, what did you think him? We chose him, what did you choose him? Right? We chose him president. We thought him handsome, and so on. We need to complete the meaning with those nouns. That's why they're called object complements, because they complete the meaning. It complements the direct object, and it completes the meaning of the verb and the object, okay? Certain verbs of naming, thinking, or selecting may have the direct object completed by a noun or adjective called an objective complement. Okay, so it's only certain verbs that'll have this: naming, thinking, selecting. Notice that you could take each direct object complement pair and make a kind of linking verb statement. Baby is Bill, dog is Rex, he is handsome, right? So perhaps you could say there's something implied there, okay? And that's how an objective complement works. So diagram these sentences to get practice with objective complements. They called her, what did they call her? Frivolous Sal. Melvin considers you, what does he consider you? His friend. Should they have elected Herman a director of the company? Should they have elected Herman what? A director of the company. Notice these are all nouns. The doctor finally pronounced him what? Able to travel. So pronounced him able to travel. Think about how to diagram that one. Okay. And then finally, the captain had already chosen Bill first mate. What did he choose Bill? He chose him as first mate. Okay. So these are, you know, pretty simple. You're just putting the objective complement next to the direct object on its own little section, and you mark over it OC. Simple, right? And that's why if you see where she puts the slanted line here, she does that because it's like saying baby is Bill, dog is Rex, he is handsome. So it's like saying is, so you put the slanted line like in an intransitive linking verb. Okay. The final one that we're going to go over, this final noun, is the adverbial noun. Okay. Now you all know about adverbial nouns, or about adverbs. You know that it's how, where, when, and why. If you don't know that by now, she even says you haven't been trying. So sometimes how means to what degree, or under what circumstances, or in despite what circumstances, i.e. in although clause. But you have developed, I hope, an adverb sense, an awareness that a certain word or expression is modifying a verb, adjective, or other adverb. And here are the adverb constructions that we've done so far. We've come a long way. He came suddenly, single adverb. He came in a bus, prepositional phrase. He came when I called, adverb clause. He came to help, infinitive. So these are all ways of making adverbs. You have not been confronted, at least intentionally, with these constructions. I waited 3 years. He ran 10 yards. Okay, now think about these. How is 3 years acting in the sentence? Maybe you'll think direct object. So I waited 3 years. If that were a direct object, did you make the 3 years wait? No, you were the one that waited. He ran 10 yards. Did you make the 10 yards run? Like if I say he ran the horse, it means that I got the horse to run. Maybe it needed some exercise, so I took it on a rope, and then with another horse and ran next to it. I made the horse run, or galloped next to it, right? Or I ran the dog, as in I made the dog run. Maybe I scared it, or I put it on a track and put a bone at the end of it. Are you making the 10 yards run? Are you making the 3 years wait? You're not. So this isn't a direct object. So you might immediately think that years is the direct object of waited, After all, waited what, right? 3 years. But think, waited is really in this usage intransitive. It doesn't take an object. And the sentence might just as well read, I waited for 3 years, right? That's what you're really saying in a sense. Here, years is an adverbial noun modified by an adjective 3. So an adverbial noun is a noun that acts like an adverb. That's it. And you can maybe say, well, maybe there's an implied preposition like for 3 years or what have you. And so the whole preposition, if you think about it in that way, would be an adverb phrase. Okay, a prepositional phrase acting as an adverb. And maybe that's how we get this. Okay, that's one way of thinking about it. So how are you going to diagram it? You diagram it like an indirect object. It goes under, put an X, and then you put the noun, right? The second example, he ran 10 yards, is a little different. You might make a case that sometimes run is transitive with a distance as the object. He ran the mile in 5 minutes. Here, mile would be the direct object of ran. Okay, so that's another way of doing it, where you can actually take ran and make the mile a receiver of the action. You can do that, okay? So someone might make the case, she says. But she says here, but since you can say just as well, he ran for 10 yards, surely 10 yards answers how, in the sense of how far, right? I waited 3 years. How did you wait? Right? 3 years. How did you run? 10 yards for 10 yards. All right. How far? Okay. And so you see, this is how she's going to diagram it in yards, 10 yards. He ran mile in 5 minutes, right? So this is the way to kind of look at it. Okay. But it's a pretty simple way of diagramming. What about yesterday and today? My dictionary says they are both nouns and adverbs. So it is all right to diagram it as adverbs when they answer when. Okay. For instance, he left yesterday. There it's a normal adverb. But yesterday was my birthday. There it's a noun. So you see, yesterday can be an adverb or a noun. Different words can act differently depending on context. Adverb and a noun. But the days of the week are nouns. If you look into a dictionary, they are nouns. So Mary called Tuesday. Here, it's an adverbial noun. Okay, when, perhaps. He works Saturdays. When? Saturdays. So these are nouns that are acting as adverbs. He went home, right? Where? It's answering where. Also an adverb. If you enjoy puzzling over such things, consider the grammatical uses of money. The dictionary definition of cost is hard to figure out. Look it up for yourself, but I expect you can think of it. The value of something, or something similar to that. It costs $3. It costs $3. Look, we made it first. She diagrams it as a transitive active verb. But you could make it an adverb noun. It costs dollars, adverbial noun, right? 3 modifying it. No problem. All right. But what about worth? It is worth $3. It is worth, right? We don't have a we have a predicate noun and an intransitive linking verb. We don't have a transitive active verb. And what is the worth? How do you modify it? $3, right? I'm not at all sure that dollars is an adverbial noun. I think perhaps worth is a special case. Okay, so these are a little tricky, and there's a debate about these. Some people will say it's this, some people will say it's that. It's fine, okay? But this is just one way of looking at them and diagramming them as such. Now, a similar construction might be, I am aware that he lied. If we said, I know that he lied, we would diagram it. I know that he lied. Okay, so that one's easy, right? We have a noun clause as our direct object. But what if you said, I am aware? I am is an intransitive linking verb. Aware, predicate adjective, right? Well, what can modify adjectives, right? Adverbs. I am aware that he lied. That he lied. So where are we going to put this? Let's look. I am aware that he lied. That he lied is a noun clause acting as an adverbial noun, modifying aware. So there it gets a little tricky, because what you're saying here is that this noun clause is acting as an adverb. And that's a little strange, because we said before, noun clauses have to be in noun places. That's how we know they're nouns. But here it's an adverb, so it's a little tricky one. Okay, but don't think too much about it. Just know that he lied. All right, it's explaining. When you think about it, I am aware. How are you aware? I'm aware in that, and that he lied, something like that. Okay, so it's answering how. A little tricky, but especially what we've done before, but nonetheless, you should be able to pick it up. Okay, and so that's for the noun clause acting as an adverbial noun, and that is adverbial nouns. So he will leave today or Tuesday. So he will leave today or Tuesday. So we have two adverbial nouns, today and Tuesday. They're joined together with or. Okay, so how do you diagram that? Remember the dotted lines. All right, and go ahead and finish 6.3. It's not too hard. So the exercises for this section are not too much. And now you have this great sentence that she diagrammed. You should be now able to diagram any old thing you meet in your reading, and make an explanation up if your own explanation up if you can diagram it. 4, few people will know enough to argue with you. Okay. The teacher's rule is act certain when in doubt. Sometimes. All right, so she makes act a honorary linking verb. Anyway, so that's chapter 6. The next chapter is fairly easy, and the one after that is just extra. So you're almost done with the entire book, the major parts of the book.